Alright, what is going on, guys? This is Purgatory and welcome to another video. So the Halo Infinite flight, the first weekend at least, has concluded. We went through all the scheduled PvP, the training mode, everything. All that stuff is like not to be accessed right now, as of recording this at least. But we're going to be having a second weekend coming up on next weekend on the 30th, which is also a lineup day for Hot Wheels Unleashed. So I don't know how I'm going to handle that, but pretty much I wanted to go ahead and give my thoughts, feedback, all that stuff on the first weekend. And this is actually my first time playing multiplayer, like the PvP. I know they had some PvP in the first flight, but I didn't get to test that out. I can't remember what I was doing, but I didn't get to test it out at all. I played a lot of the bot stuff. Anyways, with this weekend, I played a lot of training mode, I played a lot of bot arena, I played a lot of Slayer arena, a lot of Halo Infinite this weekend, to be completely honest with you. And today, I want to just give my feedback. So we're going to start off with the positives. Overall, I love this game. I love how it feels. This game feels absolutely fantastic for the most part. I will get into that here in a bit. The maps I thought were pretty good. I would say, to rank my favorite map, I think Behemoth or Recharge would probably have to be my favorite map, because those feel most like a sandbox style map. Live Fire and Bazaar were great, were good maps, but they just felt too linear and too competitive to me in terms of just how Halo is. I know Halo is a competitive game, but Halo also has sandbox and freedom, and with Live Fire and Bazaar I got that more than Live Fire, but with those two maps I really didn't feel as much freedom. Most of the guns, like the gunplay, the movement, all that stuff, it felt very solid. It felt very smooth. Like I said, I don't know if y'all saw my tweet, but it's addictingly great. This game just in itself is addicting, but again, it's not perfect, which I'll go into again. The overall graphics in this game is far better than what we've seen in the first flight and in the preview that they showed us, like when that campaign preview came out a year or two ago. The graphics in this game are absolutely bonkers, to be honest. They're very, very good. Overall, playing on the PC version and playing on the Xbox version, Xbox Series X felt a little better than PC, but PC actually ran a lot better than it did when the first flight came out. Overall, everything about this game, a lot of things at least, and especially in this flight for this build of the game, it's not even the finished build, it feels very solid. But it's not perfect, and that's where I'm going to get my feedback. I'm probably going to put a timestamp there, because I might submit this to 343 if they see this. But so far, the first thing that was bothering me the most was settings and just being a controller player. It took me a really long time to adjust settings, and on PC I got my settings, and then I went over to Xbox and I had trouble tuning those, but I think I found my settings now, but unfortunately, it's towards the end. Overall, the settings, the controller, aim assist, all that stuff, anything for a controller, just doesn't feel right. It feels that part of it feels very, very clunky to me. Apparently, I'm not the only one that shares this this opinion, because apparently I've seen a lot of people actually post a lot about controller just feeling really weird in this game. And it kind of explains why, when we saw the BTB gameplay footage, that the developer wasn't aiming so properly. My only thing there is the controller I just feel needs to be fine-tuned. Obviously, it's an early build of the game, so I'm telling this kind of feedback to them. Try not to be aggressive about it, but controller just doesn't feel quite right. It feels like it needs to be tuned a little more. I would like to have a more like a Halo 5 or Halo 3, just make the controller just feel more like that, because I liked how Halo 5's felt for sure. Also just Halo 3 as well. Halo 2's felt pretty good, but I think Halo 5 feels the best for me when it comes to a Halo game like this. So they made this a known issue, but the hit reg was pretty wonky. A lot of the guns felt very inconsistent, but it was pretty obvious. It was hard to tell which gun was great and which gun was bad, because the ones that were more consistent were the guns like battle rifle, assault rifle, commando, and sometimes the sidekick. Not all the time, but sometimes the sidekick. I also feel like that has to do with the headshot multiplier. I feel like the headshot multiplier is way too high. If you get body shots, it takes forever to kill somebody, it feels like sometimes, but when you hit most of their head, they're pretty much melted. That happened to me a lot, where I was just getting headshotted and I would just insta die, even though I was hitting them just pretty much the same amount, but I wasn't hitting their head. So I feel like headshot multiplier needs to be a little bit tuned. Time to kill feels good. I think this feels like a Halo game, to be honest. It feels a tad bit faster than Halo 5, I would say, but it still feels good. Other thing is the FOV. For some reason, whenever I went past 100 FOV, like I would try to do 110 or 120, the game felt really clunky, at least on my end. Apparently I'm kind of alone on this, but the game just felt really clunky whenever I would go above 100. So most of my FOV just stayed at 100 because the best I could do to have the game feel smooth, at least on my end. I don't know if anybody shares this same thing, but I definitely feel like that was a whole debacle. But yeah, no, I think the weapons, most of the weapons feel fairly inconsistent. The sniper did not feel good at all. I think the sniper and the skewer were like my least favorite guns to use. The bulldog was pretty decent. The bulldog, I feel like, was one of them that was the most consistent. The AR, I think, is a little too strong. I think it's like at a good spot, but needs a slight tweak, like a really small nerf. I think probably like an ammo nerf, or maybe like a damage nerf in general. I honestly don't know, but I feel like if they tighten the bloom, I was hoping they would tighten the bloom, but I feel like if they do, the gun would just be overpowered and be like every precision weapon. So the AR, just a slight nerf, but the pistol, I think, needs a major buff. The pistol just did not feel good at all unless you were hitting mostly headshots with this thing. The bloom on it was just outrageous. The recoil was a little outrageous. The damage output was, if I had to be honest, was a little pathetic. Be completely real with you guys, 343, for watching this. Most of the other weapons, it was hard to tell the balance because they all, the hit reg was so wonky. So a few bugs that I ran into were some UI bugs where the screen, like the UI would just flash on screen, like flash like out of the UI on the screen. There was sometimes where like a green like buzz, I forget what those are called, like artifacts kind of like pop up on the screen sometimes too. This happened on PC and console. Some console exclusive ones actually was I turned off the speed lines, but they stayed on my screen. I even made sure I checked the box and everything, and when I went to go turn them off, they were still off. Another, I guess, minor bug was sometimes it was hard to equip like anything on my character, like swapping out weapon skins, swapping out armor coatings. I had to restart the game entirely if I wanted to customize my character. But that's kind of minor, to be honest, because the game boots up fairly fast, at least on Xbox. But this one was on PC and Xbox. There was just sometimes to where I had to restart my app in order to like customize my character and all that stuff. The bots on, at least on ODST difficulty, do not feel like ODST difficulty bots. There'll be some times where they just stop moving and then they'll stare at a wall. This happens on both platforms for me. There is another point to where, like, even just with Spartan bots, doesn't matter the difficulty, they just get grouped up in one area and you have to go and kill them for them to start moving around again. So there's a few minor bugs I found personally that were fairly consistent. There wasn't really any other bugs that I found too much. It was just some things I think they need to fine tune, but that's overall my biggest like kind of complaints so far. Last but not least, I do want to say something about sprint. I think sprint feels rather useless in this game. I don't feel like it has a place in this game whatsoever because there's so many downsides to using it. The only thing that helps you is it helps you slide and it helps you get from point A to point B. But if you're running, you're going to be on the radar, which is a little dumb. I feel like the radar should be like original Halo, where it should just be you're always on the radar no matter what. Like no sneak ups, no anything. Like I get it. The radar was kind of flawed in Halo, but because you couldn't flank or do any like cool moves. With the time to kill that high and stuff, I think the radar should just go back to normal. I don't like where we have it now, but it's not a game breaking. It's not like a deal breaker for me. I'm not gonna like, oh man, I'm not buying Halo anymore because the radar sucks or something. It doesn't suck. I would like to see it get a little bit reverted back, or at least make it to where sprint doesn't show you on the minimap. Because there's so many downsides to sprint, and it feels like they're just making it to where you shouldn't sprint at all. Because like you got a grapple hook, you got the pulsar thing, and I don't know. It doesn't feel like sprint should be in this game. But that's all the feedback that I have today. 343, if you're watching this, I hope I'm gonna fill out that survey that you guys are making whenever next week comes around. But hopefully, I would have submitted this to you guys. But that's my feedback. I'm very passionate about this game. I think this game overall is great. Oh, I almost forgot. Last thing, the matchmaking or the team balancing, I don't know what it is. 90, like not 99%, about 95 to 90% of my games, I was getting matched with people, like it, I don't even know if this is like a skill-based matchmaking thing, I don't even know. But I barely got any good games in this game. Like, there will be a lot of times where I'm just getting absolutely rolled. Right now, how the matchmaking is, it feels like you either get rolled or you roll the lobby yourself. And I don't really like that. I finally got to the point to where I'm able to hold my own, and that's great. But for the most part, like it's so tough. You gotta sweat out so much. Everybody is like everybody on the enemy team is sweating their hearts out, but my team is just getting absolutely slaughtered, going AFK, leaving games, and that's what causes me to leave games, because I'm wasting my time getting my ass kicked 99% of the time. But I still stuck it through because the gameplay, it just feels good, and honestly, the bot matches makes up for it, because you can just go into a bot lobby, like literal bots if you really wanted to, and just go and do that. But overall, Halo Infinite feels great. The matchmaking, I think, needs a little bit of work, because I can't say I didn't have fun, because I kind of did have fun, but also there is a large gap in my experience to where I was literally like raging. I don't rage that much anymore, and I was getting pissed off because I just could not get a good game worth the life of me. So I hope 343 looks at the matchmaking. I don't know if they're like testing two different matchmakings, because when I play the first scheduled one, I play fine, and then there's the second scheduled one, I feel like I'm getting constantly matched against four stacked teams, and that gets pretty annoying. So I hope they do some tweaking to the matchmaking and team balancing, but that's really it. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Make sure to leave a like if you did. Make sure to subscribe if you're brand new to the channel, and let me know your thoughts on Halo Infinite's first weekend. What was your favorite map? What was your favorite gun? What was your favorite equipment? All that stuff. Did you get like a demon, like a 40 kill streak? I'm gonna be very surprised if anybody did. But yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy. I love you all. Have an absolutely fantastic day.